coming to you live from the grounds of the Domas family mansion. It's the 10 Point Podcast. My name is Bruce, and it is 11:55. Hail Satan! Hail Satan! Joining me at the altar this evening for the sacrifice
in that channel.
in the honour of Mr. Hale. First, you got this, bitch. Don't be a bitch, Chris. You got this, bitch. It's Chris.
Indeed.
And secondly, brown-haired co-host, you continue to exist. It's Andy.
I'm already here.
On your face, there's brown hair. And also,
Okay.
Chris famously doesn't have brown hair, so I couldn't make that be him. Welcome to the 10 Point Podcast. You can find us everywhere you get your podcasts, all the podcast apps ever in the world ever. And you can find us on YouTube, where you can check us out on video if that is your sort of thing. Please thumbs up, like, rate, review, subscribe, all these sort of things on everything that we do.
We want the ducats.
Whatever that is. And visit 10pointpodcast.com is your hub for all things 10 Point Podcast. And you can email us there with any ideas or opinions, and you can donate. There's a donate button over there if you want to send us any sort of funds, any sponsorship deals and all that. Email us over there as well. And on social media, you can contact us. Facebook and on Twitter, 10 Point Podcast. That's all letters, no numbers there. 10 Point Podcast. Send us anything you want us to do, anything you want us to review, because this episode here, this is a listener pick, someone who is not one of the three of us selected this film. So it does happen. So if you send your one over to us, it can be added to our, I've realised now, our wheel of films that we've not actually given an official catchy name to yet.
We'll come up with a jingle.
Name for the wheel.
We'll get Chris to sing one.
Yes. He's definitely the pop singer among us, I would say. And yeah, so contact us. We want to hear from you. In the last week, have we been watching films and other things therein? Because I want to hear what you guys have got recommendation-wise. Chris, what have you seen in the last week?
Quite a week compared to last week. I only watched Get Out. It was on Film 4 the other night. I'd never seen it before.
Did you watch it before or after you watched Ready or Not? Because I feel they're very similar.
I would have been after.
Right.
I wasn't quite prepared for the twist that was coming. I thought it was, just like straight ahead. It's a family. It's a bunch of racists. I wasn't expecting the twist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's all I'll say. Is if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's good.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend it as well. It's very, very similar, especially if you watched Ready or Not. To watch along with us, I'd recommend Get Out afterwards. It's a similar version if you like this. Anything else? Or is that
just that.
I'll go next, Andy. I'll wait for you at the end because no doubt you've got something sensational to come up with this week. I don't know. It's smirking like he does. I watched two films and then I've got something else to discuss. So first of all, I watched The Sandlot, which is it's on Disney Plus. I'm not sure if it is a Disney movie, but it's not. It's a live action kind of kids film sort of thing. But I heard it was quite good. On recommendation, and I really enjoyed it. It's your typical 90s kids movie about a bunch of kids and they kind of play baseball. They play baseball and get up to a whole bunch of weird stuff and all that. It's got a brilliant kind of cameo towards the end. I don't know if the actor was advertised as being in it. I won't spoil it if you don't know it, but yeah, I'm not sure if your girls would like it, Chris, from what you've talked about what they do like, because it's very much a lads film about playing baseball and kids in the neighborhood and all that. But it was funny, and I think it's one of these ones that maybe our generation in America, it was a big influence on them, but because we're over in Britain and we don't like baseball and all that, it maybe not quite as good. But another film that we have definitely talked about, and I think Chris has watched it in terms of since we started doing the podcast. I watched Cocktail in the last week, the Tom Cruise film. Did you know? I feel like you'd mentioned it to me. Maybe it was just because it did win the Razzie one year that we had we've covered. But it is by no means a good film, Cocktail. In fact, it's probably a bad film. But I found myself really enjoying it, and it's like I still think like Cocktail would be. I think it was the late 80s, like 88, 89 or something like that. So. Even looking back now, Tom Cruise still looks like he's an alien trying to learn how to be human back then. And he's always been that way. It just doesn't look like he knows how to be a human being. He's like, I can learn how to be a bartender and I can learn to do this and that, but he still doesn't look like a person. It is like some sort of Invasion of the Body Snatcher situation. Cocktail, definitely give it a watch just out of, I don't know, to see what someone would get out of it, because it's bad, but it's also good at the same time, and it's a very strange one. But I was coming on the podcast this week. I was ready to do it. I was getting ready to say, who is watching What If, the new Marvel series, and why am I the only person that seems that doesn't like it?
No, don't like it as well.
But then episode 3 this week, I turned the corner on it, and I thought episode 3 was a much better episode. And I think it's because they just generally kept everybody as who they are, and I like that. I know who these characters are, and they stay who they are, and it's a story about what would happen if something different happened, but it's the same people. But I feel like the first 2 were just unnecessary. It's like you can see through it. It's like they just want to sell a bunch of new toys with these people instead. It's like, oh, we'll make a T'Challa. He could be Star-Lord, and it changes everybody else into somebody else, and we can sell another dozen toys from this TV show. And it's just like, but episode 3 I highly recommend, and it was a good Avengers-style one. And also, it went quickly, but the other ones I felt like it was just bash, here's info, non-stop. But episode 3 was way better. But yeah, I don't know how you guys feel otherwise, but What If?
Yeah, I didn't quite enjoy the first 2 episodes. So I haven't seen the third one yet.
Yeah, I've seen the third one. I'm still not a huge fan of it. Just give me fucking decent films.
Exactly. It feels like it's purely just everyone's like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever. How great is it? It's like a movie condensed down into like a quarter of the time it should be, and it just did my head in. So yeah, I was coming on to really complain about it, but episode 3 is actually pretty good. And Andy, what have you watched in the last week?
Well, it's been 2 weeks since I've seen Free Guy, and I still haven't been to the cinema because it's still such a good film.
No film will ever compare to it. It's ruined all films for him.
You sent us a rating that said it's the best film of all time or something in the last week, didn't
Pretty
you?
much.
Yeah.
It literally is the best film of all time. It has the best 5 minutes in cinema history, so that's a big build-up. However, I did watch some home stuff. Since Brendan Fraser's everywhere, I thought I'm going to pick out a Brendan Fraser classic, Dudley Do-Right.
Right, okay.
Is he mountain
purely because he's a mountain, but purely because the
nice.
evil bad guy is what do you call him? That's playing Doc Ock in the new Spider-Man as well.
Oh, Arthur
and also
Molina.
played the old Spider-Man.
That's a nice.
But yeah, so I thought that's a perfect film. Yeah, Dudley Do-Right still holds up, amazing. And then what else did I watch? There was something else I watched, and I cannot remember what it was. Oh, highly recommend. What is it called? Playing God. It's Alan Tudyk trying to find God.
Right, okay. Literally
trying to find God. He's literally trying to find the God. Right, okay. Not a film that would normally like be my kind of cup of tea, but Alan Tudyk carries the film and is amazing.
Sounds familiar. We did Tucker and Dale, and he kind of carried that film as well, if I remember rightly.
He's not a franchises.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of old Molina, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had found my wit's end with this Spider-Man trailer nonsense to the point where I unfollowed the topic Spider-Man and Marvel on Twitter because I was sick of people moaning that they haven't had a trailer for a film that comes out at Christmas yet. And I was like, who cares? It's a trailer for it. You're going to go see it anyway. You wouldn't be complaining otherwise. So yeah, it finally came around, and I enjoyed the trailer. I'll say that. It's,
I hope they leave it at that one trailer though. If they'll bring like another 3,
they won't,
and they'll just ruin the film.
They're already kicking off that Tobey Maguire wasn't in it, and Andrew Garfield. They're all kicking off.
It's I feel like I might step back and just like I know I'm going to see that film. I will not bother looking at anything else in relation to it now. But yeah, I think we might as well mention the most watched trailer of all time on the
yeah.
I think at this point it's approaching doing what Infinity War and Endgame had combined. I think as we're talking at the moment. So we'll see if it beats that in the end.
That's because it had everybody in it. It had Charlie Cox and everybody, all the little Easter eggs. And
maybe.
It did.
I hope it does because he was fucking brilliant as Daredevil.
He was.
He was on set, but then I feel like Marvel just hired everybody they've ever used and put them on set, just going, oh, paparazzi seen him on set. It's like, has he actually filmed anything, or has he just sat and had a chat?
I also don't know if I'm dumb that I didn't see it coming that in the film where it's Spider-Man No Way Home, or is it No Way Home? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
No Way Home. That the main character would be off to see the wizard in that because in the Wizard of Oz there was no place like home, and she had to try and find her way home. And I feel like it's just going to be the Wizard. Marvel does the Wizard of Oz, I think, is what this film is going to be. But yeah, Doctor Strange looks like it's going to be a giant part of it. I thought maybe it might be a small bit, but it looks like he's full on in it. But anyway, that's months away. We'd better get on with what we're supposed to be doing over the next 60 minutes or so. Point 1 on the podcast this week. What is the point? The point is the 2019 action, comedy, horror, mystery, thriller, Ready or Not. That's lifted from IMDb. I don't know if it's quite as much a comedy and a mystery and all that sort of thing, but all those things came up in my research. Brought to us by Fox Searchlight Pictures, who we've only done once before, and that was Napoleon Dynamite they made for us, along with
That explains this film.
okay. Along with Mythology Entertainment, Vincent Films, and Radio Silence. We've not covered any of them before, but Radio Silence is also the name of the directing team who directed the film. They directed as Radio Silence in the past, making such films as VHS, Southbound, which I've never heard of, Ready or Not is the next biggest one, and they are currently making Scream, the 2022 release. They are the directors behind that. That's Matt Bettinelli, Alpin, and Tyler Gillett, or Gillet, I don't know how you
Hollywood
say their
run
names.
out of ideas, Chris.
They are the ones behind it, and they are the directors of it. And the team that wrote this are Guy Busick and R. Christopher Murphy. Guy Busick is also writing the new Scream movie that's coming out next year. Between them, they are behind a film called Urge and the television series Castle Rock, all before they made Ready or Not, and then Scream, which is not out yet. So the group of people behind this seem to work sort of as a squad, and they've only done a few things recently that are their most memorable things. The film stars Samara Weaving, who I hadn't heard of until about 3 or 4 years ago, and then she was in every single film for about a 2-month period at one point. So her career highlights are Out of the Blue. She was a child actor in that, did most of that. Then 300 plus episodes of Home and Away. And then she did the Hollywood Transfer and went 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, The Babysitter, Guns Akimbo, then Ready or Not, and since then Bill and Ted Face the Music and Snake Eyes, which I don't know is out just yet. Andy, you seem to be the kind of person that'd be interested.
It's out.
It's out yet. So it has just come out. She is in Snake Eyes. Any other Samara Weaving? Are we any of those unmentioned, or are we new to her when it comes to this?
Maybe Sarah and Guns Akimbo. That's my two.
I thought you might
Bill and Ted.
Yeah, I remember because she's Bill's daughter or something in that. Is that right? Or I've not seen it yet. But...
Theodore. I haven't seen it.
Right. Okay. There we go.
Have you not seen Bill and Ted, you bell end?
I wanted to watch the old ones again, and I never got around to actually
I was talking to him. I wasn't slagging you
off.
off.
No, he's not seen it. Oh, it's fine. Bruce has not seen it, but I've not seen it.
Bruce not seen anything.
I've seen the
You
first.
don't have a life.
Anyway, Samara Weaving, I feel like when we were doing our ill-fated podcast, movie news podcast, she literally came up every week for about a 2-month period. So we finally got one of her films. Co-starring with Samara Weaving, second in the credits, that's how we did it for this one, was Adam Brody. He's also the only person, well, one of the only people I recognise going into it. Adam Brody, famous for, certainly personally, being in the OC. He was Seth in the OC, a terrible but loved TV show from my youth. Followed up that with Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Jennifer's Body, Scream 4, which I don't think is in very much, but the fact he's in it, I thought I might as well mention Scream again. He was in 4 episodes of The League, which again I'd forgotten he was in The League, so I had to mention that. Then after Ready or Not, he was in Shazam and then Promising Young Woman in the last 6 months, I think, whenever that came out. Adam Brody, is he anybody but
Shazam?
He's one of the Shazams.
I think he's a hero in it, yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, is he just Seth on the OC? Or
Seth, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's Seth anyway. He was the co-star. He was second in the credits. I've not done Andy McDowell because she wasn't particularly high up in the cast. On a budget of $6 million, it opened in the US for $8 million. Ready or Not's final US gross, $29 million. Worldwide, 57.5. It almost did half of its money abroad, half in the US exactly. So not a massive moneymaker, but profitable. Released 21st of August 2019. I think makes it the newest film I've ever done, but it's very close between it and The Dead Don't Die. They're I can't remember exactly when Dead Don't Die came out. I forgot to actually look up the exact date, but it's close to being the newest film I've ever done. Coming out in 2019, it was eligible for awards season around that time, and it did win 3 awards. It had 2 wins at the Fright Meter Awards of 2019. That was Best Actress for Samara Weaving and the Screenplay. And it also won 1 award at the 2020 CAFTCAD, or CAFTCAD Awards. CAFTCAD might be easier. It won Best Costume Design in Film, brackets Contemporary Film. So it was costumes were honoured there. Andy argues there. I feel like we'll get more in depth into that later on. Onto the film itself. Synopsis by our old favourite Nick has prepared a synopsis for us
He
here.
watches more films than we do.
He does. He does. Every film I think we've gone to, Nick's been mentioned one or another. And again, I've not read this before, so this is immediately reading and speaking at once. After an elegant nuptial ceremony at the lavish manor of the uber-wealthy Le Domas clan, the gentle groom, Alex Le Domas, informs his blissful young bride Grace that the ceremony is far from over yet, and there's still a long night ahead of them. Before long, as part of a macabre, long-standing family tradition, Grace will have to play a seemingly innocent game and hide somewhere in the vast mansion's cavernous halls and labyrinthian corridors until dawn. He likes a word, doesn't it? He must write this with a thesaurus next to him. Now, whether Grace is ready or not, he said the thing, the armed to the teeth Domases are coming for her, and it's going to get ugly. Will the newlywed quarry survive the relentless onslaught of the nasty in-laws from hell? Question mark. At the end. That's what the film is about. Who picked it? If I remember correctly, it was our listener Laura. Is that who it was that picked it?
Rachel, wasn't it?
Rachel. There we go. I remember both names have been flung around. So our listener Rachel selected this film. I believe we have no further explanation.
You better fucking listen to this.
On why. But she selected it for us. Am I right thinking nobody had seen it prior to this?
I'd never seen it.
Never even fucking heard of it.
I'd seen the poster on demand thing. Oh,
there's very few films that Andy's never seen.
Exactly what I was thinking. Yes, this is. Let's see how high it scores. Let's see. He always says a first watch is always his highest rating. Andy says so. We'll see how.
I'm expecting this just to be a 1.
It's going to be a roller coaster.
Okay. Does that mean for point 2 or high points, Andy? Do you want to start or do you want to go last when it comes to high points?
I do have a high point.
Right, you start then.
So I generally 110% went into this blind. Like, found the film, didn't even read the little blurb at the side, didn't watch a trailer, just watched it, and I was enjoying it for the first 20-30 minutes, up until like shit goes down.
Right.
I'm the opposite. The wedding shit was.
No, I was like, what's going on? Like, what is this? Oh, demons and shit. All right. Speaking of interest, all the way. It was ticking the boxes. Like, yep, yeah, okay. The only bit I was kind of struggling with was, which is, I'll say now because it kind of fits in, it was a low point as well, is I don't know what any of the character names were. There was no character building in that film at all. But there was 30 minutes of
Grace was the one name I knew him, and then I worked out that it was Alex and Daniel, but I definitely got the names confused at one point. I forgot which was which. But yeah, the surname is unnecessarily difficult. I had to write it down. I can't
remember if they're the Domases or they're the Labelles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so confusing. But 30 minutes of suspense build-up, I was appreciating. I was like, ooh, what's this going to be?
Normally it's me bragging about that. Say that.
I was enjoying it, not knowing what I was getting myself into. And I was like, all right, is this a period wedding drama? No, okay. Oh, there's some. Oh. And it was piquing my interest, so they got a thumbs up for that bit.
I don't think
you better move on to somebody else's high points.
Well, I've got to say, in all honesty, my first high point comes when like they're sitting around the table and the dad's explaining the history. Like I have nothing before that I was like, it's all. I don't have an opinion on it. It was all just happening. Although I do have a low point that comes early, but in terms of high points.
Like my first one, it's not really a high point. It's just when you've already mentioned it, is when the aunt says brown-haired niece. Clearly doesn't give a shit about her family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought she in the beginning. I quite liked her as this quirky, weird character that just appears in the room suddenly as like you've got to do a better job of hiding. And he's like, well, obviously we're not hiding. But then the more we learned about her, the less I liked her. But in the beginning, I liked her as this kind of weird, quirky aunt in the get-go. But yeah, my first high point is them sitting around the table and literally him laying out. He lays out the history of the game. Like it's a high point. They don't explain why anything happens, which will come up later. But him saying, my great uncle or great grandfather, or whatever, was on a boat and found this and met this guy, and then as they pass it around the table, and she's looking at it and giving it back, and then they put in another card and all that. So I like that scene of him. I thought it was a really good scene for the dad. That's absolutely my first high point. But yeah, nothing before that really piqued me.
What games did it actually have? Because the guy said he played Old Maid, and then who was in it, Charity or whatever she's called, said she played chess. So do they have like all the games ever existed in that thing, and she just happened to pull it hide and seek?
I'm assuming it'd be games that would have existed back in the whatever it was when the thing was set up.
Yeah.
So it would be
Uh,
basic.
Near the end, there was like a cabinet of all the games and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you got to think that he would invent board games based on that, and that would be kind of how his money comes around. Because there were, I believe, I read in the trivia that they invented something like 30 games as part of production. Like, here's 30 games that they could have made, and then the studio whatever had to say, oh, we can't copy that. That's too much like that, and they came up with, I think it was 5 ones in the end that were fake board games that they put into it. So maybe these are all versions that could possibly come out on the card.
Connect 4's my jam.
Connect 4.
Is that the game you'd hoped to come out if this was you?
Yeah, I can't lose a Connect 4. It's possible.
There you go.
That
It's a pattern. It's just like Noughts and Crosses. Like it is possible to never lose at Noughts and Crosses. Because,
Correct. I can either draw or never lose. Is pretty much how Connect 4 goes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's a good question. I didn't actually think what would I wanted to come out, because I'm not especially good at many board games. Monopoly,
even like Monopoly. Yeah, I was gonna say Monopoly before this whole demon shit just gets people into a rage.
Yeah.
I was what other point is like, it's not a point, but that charity went fucking feral, and she like had never done this before. She was like, oh, let's just grab a gun and go kill somebody. It seems like everyday patter, you know.
Old Fitch wasn't quite as taking to it. He knew he had to do it, but he was like,
Stop using character names. I don't know who it is. I still haven't learned.
The guy with the crossbow behind Bruce.
Yeah.
Right.
I should really be pointing at them for you.
He's called Chubbs in my head.
Chubbs. Chubbs. He seemed like he was. I'm here because I have to be. Some of them seem to be getting into it. Then there's
I've got Chubbs. I've got the Western. I've got the Witch. I've got the Slapper. I've got the old hag.
The drug addict one. She was another one. She was like, she seemed to really take to it because I feel like she's just been born and raised playing. Not actually probably hearing about this game rather than playing it, because obviously I don't think she was born when it was the last time it was played. Anyway, I'll get on to the high point rather than running through who the cast were.
My next one is when the old lady's like, oh, she could be anywhere, and she just appears behind them, and you're like, nice, found her.
It was listed as a comedy, and I feel like it's meant to be funny, but that was one of the few actual laughs I got. Like, I didn't find myself laughing too much at it, but that was definitely a funny bit that I laughed out loud at. Especially because she gets to the corner, it's like, go to the kitchen, and he goes, and there's 2 doors, so she just lets out an F-bomb, and you're like, oh, what's she going to do? And then the next scene, she just comes walking into the middle of the night.
The way she does that, I thought, like, she does it again. She's just like standing going, oh, fuck. And it carries on.
It's very relatable. I think that's exactly what I'd be like in the situation. My next high point was just before that, because at this point, my low points are filling up with questions. Like, why, this, why? But then there's the one scene where, now it's Alex as her husband, isn't it? So Alex and her are in the corridor thing, and he's pretty much saying, we can't not play because my granddad or whatever died this, and my great uncle Stevie did this, and all listing off all the people who didn't play or did something different and all that. And that's why, because pretty much at the beginning I was like, just don't play the game. Like, but everybody dies if you don't play sort of thing, or those who don't play die. So I like them having that in there at that point, because at that point I was really getting annoyed. Like, you should just never have done this in the first place. So that was well timed.
I really kept asking, the question I was going to ask is, why can you not have just used one of the people that died?
That is my next.
I had to be the bride. I was like, well, just put a dress in her. There you go. He's not going to know. Problem solved.
Oh, no.
My next high point was the crossbow to the mouse throat head, which is blatantly obvious. As soon as she gets the weapon after just already making an arse of it, and the person walks in, you know she's dying. But then for this is like the second time in 20 minutes. Can we use her instead?
Was a fucking monster.
I'm just like, no. Why does everyone keep asking that? It has to be the right one. And then of course that she's not dead yet, and they have to finish her off with the giant axe that she has as well. But yeah, some of these people were really going for they're like, they've been waiting for this day. You can tell some of them were really excited.
So I do have another high point, and it's when Chubbs is looking at his YouTube video on how to use a crossbow. Because that's totally something I would do. It's like, I don't actually know how to use this weapon. YouTube it.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's definitely coming up in my notes later on, Andy. So I'm glad. All right, on you go.
Well, I was gonna say, it's like not long after that, is he's looking at the video. No, he's texting his mate, and you just see this white blur go behind him.
Yeah. And then it's long enough as well that like 'cause in most films they would just pop up immediately and start running about, but he stays down for a while, so he just goes back to what he's doing, and then she pops up behind him and runs away. Speaking of the white though, my next high point is just her look. It's a really good look for a hero in a film. Like I will remember, this is a film where she's in that particular wedding dress, which is quite a unique look to me. I don't look at wedding dresses that often. I'm not hiding out like where Andy is with a selection of them.
In the closet.
In the closet, but that, and then with the yellow Converses, and then what we find out is fake shotgun bullets or shells across her. I thought it was a really good look for a hero. It sounds obviously a bit literal, but very like the bride from Kill Bill. But I'll remember her from this film looking like that.
Yeah.
I did read in the trivia that they were unable to buy Converses in that style because Converse stopped making that color, so they had to buy, I think it was white ones, and paint them yellow because they wanted specifically yellow Converse trainers, and they couldn't buy them anywhere.
Just wear white and make them red and blood.
Well, yeah, exactly. I've got a couple more high points. So a few more.
I'm out.
I thought you might be.
All right.
Oh, actually, I do have one. I'll do it. I'm going to do a critical right to the end. When they all die.
Well, the ending, yeah, it's definitely a high point. It's probably the high point, is the very end. It's always good when... Well, on you go.
No, I was going to say, it's just when they're like, she opens the curtains and it was like, the light!
The light!
Maybe we were wrong, and then poof! It starts blowing up.
I do like a film where there's this curse over everything. We cannot do this because the bad thing will happen, and then it turns out the bad thing actually does happen, because quite often it's faked out in most films. So it's like, oh yeah, that wasn't the case, we've saved the day. This is that has been what you've been doing this entire time. But yeah, the finale with each one of them in turn popping, and then the one with the kids running out the door, and then just pop, massive splash of blood comes back in the door again.
That was quite funny.
Before getting to the end, I had two others. One is immediately before that. Gracie's I put it as rampage because I thought she was actually killing them off at this point, but she killed the mum, but everybody else just kind of injured. But when she finally starts properly fighting back and brutalizing some of them, it was a good bit. But the other bit that would contend for that best bit of the film for me is the kitchen scene where the butler guy is making tea or whatever, and she's hiding behind the counter, and as he comes round, she goes round, and then all of a sudden it starts going, oh la 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 la, melting out at the top of his lungs, and then she starts loading the gun, and that whole scene playing out was a really, really good scene. He entertained me, the butler. I'm not sure if he was good or not, but I enjoyed him being in the film, and his desire to FaceTime every single phone call he ever made was made purely just so they could see her sneaking in the background of that one scene. But yeah, he had a unique charisma, did the old butler. Any others, Chris?
I've got the nail going through the hole in the hand thing. Like when she was done it and you see the nail, you're like, you can see this coming a mile away, but it's still kind of, when it happens, you're like, ugh.
I had specifically not mentioned that because I have that between high points and low points is the hand/nail scene, because while I like it and I appreciate it and it's amazing and it's immensely well done, and like you say, you know it's coming from the second the nail is established and shot.
Yep.
It's like it just makes me feel horrible on the inside when it happens.
To be fair, I thought she was going to be left hanging with that one hand.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad it didn't.
I think we got that bad.
Mentioned the end bit, but my next one is Alex turning heel on Grace.
It was a good heel turn.
Yeah, I was like, the image of him seeing like the love is like just beating the holy shit out of his mum. Despite the fact he just said, if I got to choose between you and Grace, I'm going to pick Grace. Clearly he was talking shit.
Oh.
And you still feel like he's...
At that point, he was choosing between himself and her at that point, essentially. He realised that, this might actually be my death here. So,
but I still think he's going to comfort her, but then he just goes boom. Just grabs her and like, calls her up and then, to be fair, I would have been full Hulk if I saw Nicola beating the shit out of my mum. But it was a good heel turn.
Let's see where he stands.
It was very good.
I do have one more high point.
All right, we'll finish on Andy's last high point then.
It's got a lot of goats in it.
It does have a lot of goats in it. Again,
that's my first low point. Fucking goats.
All right then. Okay, we'll go straight on to it. You guys can debate goats.
Scared the shit out of me.
What? Hey, Black Phillip's back.
Black Phillip is
Oh yeah, it's all right. I never noticed your t-shirt. I was wondering what you were doing.
back,
But yeah, like she's calling around and this goat just tries to headbutt her. Scared the shit out of me.
the trivia says they wanted to use a dummy goat for that scene. They did one take with this fake goat, thought it looked horrible, and then went to the goat wranglers and they worked something out, so they're able to do what they did. But yeah, apparently this big teddy bear goat or it was knocking her down the hole initially. But no, I must say I got excited when because I still at that point, it's about halfway through, I'm like, is this actually the devil and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
And then goats, and I'm like, it's the devil. Andy taught me, if I see a goat, it's the devil.
That's the one thing I just kept me going. It's like I want to see the like more supernatural shit, which is like my first major low point. It's like I said, I liked the build up to the thing. I liked the car stuff, but then like you said, when he's explaining it, he's explained it supernaturally, and it's like he's made a deal. But that's as far as he goes ever. It doesn't really explain who it is or what Brody actually sees. Is it Brody? Whatever. The other dude seen the kid at the
Oh
start.
right, yeah.
Alex Saul.
Alex, yeah.
Saul,
Yeah. Was he like the devil? Was it like it didn't explain anything? I wanted more.
I do feel
I
like
wanted more supernatural shit.
one of my low points is that they actually don't really even explain how and why. Like at one point, the dad starts shouting at a painting, which is presumably of the guy who did the deal with the possible devil in the first place. Just saying, why did you include this clause and all that sort of stuff? It's like, I know all we know is he met the guy, he played the game, and then he won at the game, or he had to open the box or some crap like that. And then there's like a massive jump, and it's all of a sudden you're playing this supernatural game, which is one of my major low points. Is why is hide and seek specifically the violent?
The bad one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I thought like
Yeah.
maybe every game would have like a violent twist to it,
Yeah.
like chess.
No, it doesn't seem that. It's just like just normal games.
Because at one point it's,
Yeah.
it's the one bad one, and it's like,
Yeah.
but that's also a kids game. Why not call it like murder kill game or something like that, or kill the bride game or something like that? It's why is it still hide and seek?
Also, like that brings up a point. The old lady said it has to be the bride. She was the bride, and she
Aye.
never got killed.
I
Despite
think yeah,
it's going to be the other.
yeah.
Who's
In the
marrying in?
context, it'll be whoever the person coming into the family, I guess.
Yeah.
So in this instance, it's the bride. Yeah, I'm assuming.
I don't know. I was just nitpicking.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what low points is about. We've passed by one of my low points, which is I'm no expert, but don't they do the wedding in the wrong order? Like everything
Yes.
at the wedding is wrong.
I've
Like,
never seen photographs get done first before the ceremony.
It starts with the groom walking in to where the bride is in her wedding dress, which I know is bad luck, which straight away you're like, oh, this is a bad idea. And then yeah, photographs beforehand and all this, and then the last thing is they get married. It's just like
There you go. Tips for you, Andy.
yeah,
Do it in the right order.
do it in the right order, or you don't know what could happen.
Don't play games.
Anyone else got a low point? I've got a couple more.
It's not really a low point, but like when like the shit starts going south, why would you not just pick up a brick, smash it, or something hard, smash a window, then just run instead of hiding? I
Well,
can't
my
imagine
first-
the windows will be reinforced.
We've had many debates in the past about when films are actually happening, but this one, it's the 80s was the other one, and this is now years later. She would have a phone.
Yep.
She could just go to her phone and phone somebody on, but not at any point is a telephone. It's one of these films that's set in the modern day, but they just kind of ignore that the
Oh,
telephone.
Finch used one.
Well, exactly,
just
yeah,
he was talking.
yeah. So why didn't she ever at any point? I'll go to where my suitcase is and I will get my phone or whatever.
I thought her phone was taken off of her and put somewhere.
Could have been.
But I don't know if that was mentioned. Maybe I'm just making shit up now.
Yeah,
Making
I
shit up,
I
alright.
don't remember happening in the film necessarily, but yeah.
That's really close some plot holes if you actually did put this in.
Yeah.
So I'm closing my
that's
own
my
plot
other-
holes.
My other low point, like Chris has kind of segued me into, is the fact is that's a massive house with massive amounts of tunnels. They spend all of 5 minutes in it, and then suddenly she's outside and miles away from the whole house. It's like, keep it in the house. I want to like you're going to do hide and go seek. She's breaking all the rules of hide and go seek here. You always establish your perimeter, and then the whole thing with hide and go seek is there is a way to win,
yeah.
which is always you have a den. You got to get to the den before anybody finds you.
Straight away, say I drew that card and it's hide and seek. All right, well, everybody is going to seek you. And I was like, no, that's the opposite of hide and seek, is it not? You know, you start with one seeker, like
Yeah, exactly.
straight away. But no, hang on, wait a minute. Like you all know this house, and you're all looking for me. Like, should I say it's a bit unfair? But yeah, you're right. It's why call it hide and seek? It should be just called.
Yeah,
murder,
just
like,
don't use the
kill
house
the
as my
bride.
actual major gripe. But yeah, need to use the house.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Speaking of which, I'll mention this at this point. The parents give charity. That's the woman who wants to do all the killing.
Yeah.
To watch the door that the groom is in. They watch that door, knowing that he will try and help his new bride. But it's their house. Do they either completely forget or not know that there's secret tunnels all around their own house? Because they've told her, watch that one door. There's no way he can get out of that room unless he comes out that one door. And then before she even sets up camp, he's gone down a secret tunnel.
Now that you mentioned it, like she's watching the door and he goes through a door which is not very far away from that main door. He would have came out onto that hallway.
You'd think so, but I think that the hidden doors have hidden corridors, don't they? So I think he must have gone down, like where that corridor goes, but on the outside of it, I think, maybe. But yeah,
I've only got.
right,
Sorry. No, I was gonna say I've only got one more low point, and it was how the fuck did the butler, butler. I can't talk. One beer's going straight to my head. The butler catch up to Grace when she's in the car, and she's driven quite a bit.
Yeah, it's proper Michael Myers style, which I think the whole thing is all about how you have to be family, this, family, that. But the butler guy seems to be lumped in, so I think there's something supernatural about him as well, because he's
part of the deal.
Yeah, he's come with the box. I think he came along with it. But yeah,
he's the referee.
But yeah, a valid point, unless he is also
appeared like
you
said, like Michael Myers just came out of nowhere.
Andy, did you say you had one major low point, or was that you?
Nah,
that
the whole film was a low point.
My last low point is just Andy McDowell. She's never good at anything she's ever in. She's actually forcing out the words. So she's like, I don't know how to. Bit the Tom Cruise about her. She's trying to pretend to be an actual human being, but she's not in it that much. But I did laugh pretty much every second sentence she tried to say.
I've not got a low point. It's a question. See, since she's just married into the family and they're now all dead, does she now inherit all of their money and stuff?
Technically, I literally have written after our highs and lows what happens to Grace now. So like that's a valid.
Or is she put in jail for killing everybody?
Because I think she's going to do really, really well to get out of this without some sort of criminal conviction here, because the entire family is dead or missing at best, and the house is burning, and she's there on her own. It's like,
and she's going to inherit that curse now as well, the box, because she's part of the family now.
I think it was a bit of a kind of, I don't know, the devil in her at the end was a bit of a congratulations, you beat my game.
That was the second one. Fuck. It's walked away.
Yeah, so I think the devil and her, I think they are square. I don't think she's got to worry about him anymore. But it's more like, is she going to get arrested? How is she going to? If she tells the truth, will it be good or bad for her if she tells the truth?
And also, just tell them all about the bodies, because a lot of those bodies have been there longer than she's been alive.
Well, that's a fair point. She really got out about saying that. Like they were killers. They tried to kill me. I've set fire to the building to escape. And then I'm guaranteeing she's going on the honeymoon on her own, and she is just like relaxing away from everybody for a while. Anything to do with anyone. I really thought her being a foster kid was going to come back into it again, but it was more or that she just wanted a family more than anything was all that really meant.
So that she didn't have any of her family there.
Exactly, yeah. But I thought it was going to be really important, but never was. I think that's us. Better go on with the stats, I would say. Point 4 on the podcast, our statistics. 24 shits, quite a lot. Compared to the F-bombs, 46 F-bombs. The internet tried to tell me it was 69, which I may have missed a few, because there were some really bad scenes. Like when she doesn't get the passerby helping her with the car. She has an F-bomb laden rant at the rich person in the car. But yeah, somewhere in the 50 mark for F-bombs. Explosions, 8, because I did in fact count human beings exploding in this one. Because I feel like they were definitely an explosion. So 8 explosions. 15 deaths in total. And our 10-point podcast quotas have grown in this episode. Was there a dead animal? Yes, there was. Because there were goats, which is another thing that always turns up. So there were goats in this episode. The devil, he showed up because the devil
they were dead, though, the animals.
There was a dead goat down in the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the sacrifice goat. No, you're right. Correct.
The devil showed up, which he does in every second or third film that we do. Nobody went number 1 or number 2 that I could tell.
Oh, they definitely shot themselves
Well,
in
okay.
the end. One of them definitely fall through.
Right. Said he had tummy trouble, but I think he just wanted to go watch his YouTube video, so he didn't actually go. No one seemed to be a paedophile in the film. I think we got away with that one. I think that's all the quotas. Did they say the thing? Did they say ready or not in Ready or Not?
In the song,
In the song.
In the song, they did. When the song plays at the end, when kind of the warped disc starts playing, I made sure to listen. The entire song plays, and it stops before the ready or not bit at the very end. So only plays once. However, I did my due diligence this time, like Andy tells us off for not doing. At the very end of the credits, someone says "Ready or not, here I come."
I didn't watch the credits this time.
Yeah, there you go. The credits run, and the very last thing as the thing goes off, it's sort of creepy warbled in the background. It's "Ready or not, here I come." So I think it's the bit from the end of the song.
I need to add another high point because I forgot. That song's a banger, by the way.
It is getting nominated, don't you worry. Yes, the Ready or Not song is amazing. It was really good. Any other stats, Chris?
Yeah, Grace hid 7 times. Like, no, sorry, Grace hid 6 times and Daniel hid once at the start. Because also she gets seen, then she runs and she hides again. So that's how I was doing it.
I had no idea what the extra thing, because I don't know a film or don't know much about the film. It's hard for me to judge something extra that I'm going to count. Then the film started and immediately it was candles, and I thought, I could count candles, but I've no idea what something like. I didn't bother in the end. But in reading the trivia, one of the trivia notes was the production only had 5 candelabras, so they had to take the same 5 and just put them in every single scene, from room to room whenever they started filming somewhere. So technically there were 5 candles. So I don't know if you want to put it that way. Andy, do you have a most pornographic scene from the film?
Right. Basically, the short answer is no, because there was nothing that really excited me. However, there is a scene that I can't watch, and it's so disgusting that it's almost verging on, like, I'm sure there's people out there who would think it's pornographic.
I see.
And it's the scene where she's squeezing through the fence and, like, the cut's getting bigger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, it's horrendously hard to watch, but it's so well done at the same time that it didn't look fake, and it just looked so real that I couldn't watch it. It was disgusting.
I was thinking to myself when it was happening, I was like, I don't think I could do that. But then I thought, nah, faced with the opposite, which is whatever the hell is going on behind me, I think I would force myself through the fence.
I could do it if I wasn't looking at my own cut opening up, but she did it so slow. It's like, no, you bet.
Yeah. Also,
Get out of there.
At the time, I was sure that was going to be the butler driving up to her. I thought it was going to be, she's finally escaped, and immediately, right, come back. On you go, we're going back to where you came from. So I was glad it wasn't. We better get on to point 5 on the podcast. It's the 10-point podcast quiz.
This is fucked.
Chris is streaking through the season, so I'm going to say Andy should go first, because there is one really easy question on this, and that would be that pattern. We'll give that to Andy, and I'll give Andy a free point.
And I'll still get it wrong, because I did not pay any attention to this film.
All right. Okay, well, we'll crack on. I've only got 8 questions, so we should fly through it. So, Andy, question number 1 for you. The first thing that we see in the entire film is a LaBelle's Gambit sign. It's not. I thought it was a game box, but actually a sign for it. LaBelle's Gambit. Can you fill in the blank from the sign? Take a blank, gain the advantage.
Hard.
Hard, gain the advantage. No, it was risk. Was what it was. Take a
That's
risk.
a good guess. I would have guessed card as well.
I thought it's a board game. I thought it was quite funny that the answer was a board game name. So incorrect on that one there. Chris, the events at the start of the film that I just talked about take place how long before the rest of the film?
30 years.
It's indeed 30 years.
Right. Chris is 1. Move on.
On to Andy's easy question.
Oh, God.
What time does the game start?
Midnight.
It does. There we go. So
Yay.
1-1.
I was going to say 11:55. That's when they started talking about it.
That's when they gather, yes. But the game has to start at midnight. Okay, Chris's second question. What is the family business called?
Oh, fuck. Domas something or others. Board games? I don't know.
Almost. The Domas Family Games is the name of the company. Not the easiest one there. Andy, in the crossbow instructional video, what costume was one of the hosts dressed in?
A deer.
No, he wasn't dressed as a deer.
Lumberjack?
It was Robin Hood.
Ah,
On the left. I'll give him Chris a point that you shouldn't have got there. It's still 1-1, I think, at this point. So Chris, to take the lead. Daniel retrieved a bottle of which alcoholic drink from the snooker table?
Ah, fuck those. Aviation. No, I was. Fucking aviation gin there we go. I don't even know what it was.
It was not.
Jack Daniels.
It was wild turkey. It was what he was drinking.
Ah,
on the
seems super well.
Right, so you got one question each. If anyone gets a question right, they're essentially winning here, but I do have a tiebreaker. Andy, the third maid to die isn't really a maid at all. Can you tell me why she was hired?
Prostitute.
Dancing.
Not directly, I don't think. If you give me a bit more information, I might be able to give you a point. Anything more
Childminder.
Nah. Mr. Domas likes the way that she dances. That's
That's a prostitute. I'm taking that. That's a half a point right there.
well, we'll see if Chris gets his half a point anyway.
Oh, fuck.
So, Chris, to win the quiz, what was the name of the person from TripSafe who Grace called from the car?
Jonah?
Oh, very close. Justin was the name. So we're tied at 1-1. I'm not giving Andy a half point for his, just so I've got a tiebreaker question here. I'll go to Andy first for the tiebreaker, though. Unless you want to go second. So it's a number one.
Second.
We're going to go second. Right, Chris. How many times does the word run appear in the hide and seek song?
22.
Chris has said 22, Andy. What is your guess for how many times it appears?
21.
I knew you were going to do that.
Andy's the winner. He is the closest. It was 13 times. It goes
Ah,
run,
yeah.
run, 13 times.
And I thought, no, I'll go up.
I win a quiz.
Andy won the quiz. There we go. A very hard quiz because, like I say, it was either hard questions or literally what
He
happened.
still would
next.
have won it because I was going to say 15. You would have said 14.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I looked at that. I was like, what word appears the most often? Because it's not hide, it's not seek, it's not ready, it's not that. A lot of running in it, so I'll go for that. Success for Andy. Right, Andy's on the board when it comes to season 4 quiz.
Yeah.
Right, cracking on. Point number 6 on the podcast. Movies within movies. I think we all know how this works at this point. Movies that I could see in this film was Saw, because would you like to play a game and all that. Get Out, I had written before Chris mentioned it. This reminds me of Get Out a hell of a lot. I've got Death Becomes Her / Shaun of the Dead, which is when she has the hole in her hand and she kind of moves her hand and you can see. Like you can see. I think it's another film where you can see through, but I can't remember what the film is.
Kung Pao. He gets his stomach
Kung Pao.
punched.
There you go. It could be. I think I remember that, but it's not that. There is another film. V for Vendetta, which is whenever I hear that massive classical music that he was playing in the car, always makes us think of V for Vendetta. And then Django Unchained, just the lovely big mansion being splattered in blood at the end, made me think of Django Unchained. And finally, What's Never Not Good that was in this film. I struggled with this in a wee bit, but what's never not good? Spontaneous human explosion is never not good. If a human being just out of nowhere is like, bang, it always amuses me.
I went for kids getting punched.
That's that is another good one, actually, yeah.
It reminded me of Always Sunny in Philadelphia when Mac and Charlie just beating his shit with his kids. It was fucking hilarious.
That is funny. Did they ever fight back in Step Brothers when they get bullied by the kids and that? I feel like there might be a scene where they
We
fight
don't
back.
condone beating up kids.
We don't.
No,
but
it's just funny watching it happen.
humorous comedy settings, yes. On to Chris, officially then, what have you got for us on movies within movies?
As for people being in the movies, nobody as far as I can tell. I only did the main Domas family.
Yeah, I went through absolutely everybody I could possibly think of, and that nobody was.
Well, good. I'm actually doing my job.
I've got goats. One of the goats might have been Black Phillip. Or
Well,
it wasn't Black
Phillip.
Phillip. So
It was like, as for us, I'm Fitch because, like Andrew said, I use YouTube videos to learn everything. Like I built a deck by using a YouTube video. I put Andrew as Alex because he's getting married soon, and I could see him trying to sacrifice Chantel. And I struggled with Bruce, but I put you as Daniel, the rebel, just because you play the game by your own rules.
yeah, I did.
I really struggled for you. It was either that or Mr. Domas.
I kind of struggled with this one full stop. So because you both mentioned it, I went for Andy as Fitch because I do know that Andy has learned every skill he ever had from watching a YouTube video on it. Like everything ever that comes up, because I was like, oh, what's the YouTube video on it? And now I'm proficient in it. So that has to be Andy. I don't know you did it as well, Chris, but I know Andy did it. I made you Daniel, Chris, because of, well, he drinks quite a lot, and I feel like on this podcast, you're nearly always drinking. So as far as the 10-point podcast listeners, no,
It's my spinach.
you're always boozing. So you had to be Daniel. I had to make myself either the dad or the devil. Just whoever's game we're all playing. I feel like that's probably who I'd be in a situation. But yeah, very difficult for that one. Andy, what have you got in terms of movies and movies?
Well, I've decided to make this because the film was lacking comedy. So I reckon you take Samara Weaving's character out of this one and you drop her Bill and Ted one right into it, so that she basically is just a one-man Ted or Bill, whatever one is.
A one woman, I guess, as well.
Yeah, one woman. I think it'd be hilarious. Just her basically playing a stoner rocker. It'd be brilliant.
Would she again? I've not seen. I don't know what she's particularly like in the film. Would she be eliminated straight away, or would she do just as well if she was that character?
I reckon she'd do pretty well.
Right.
Like accidentally well, but she would do pretty well.
It would be full on slapstick. Like they would be trying to shoot the crossbow, and she would duck, and it would go over her and all that. Right. Okay. That's a good idea. I think that's movies done. Don't think we've missed anything. So we better crack on with point 7. Point 7 in season 4 is Andy's trigger warning. You've all been warned. You enter here.
Right. So last week we had the Taliban. We've moved on from that. Now we're going to bring up the occult.
Right.
You don't see the occult enough these days. Like
You don't really see
like
them,
they've got, well, I feel like they've got a place like in my little town here. We've got like a shop. It's like a crystal shop, and it does like weird shit. And they gave us a pamphlet, and it literally has like witchcraft and stuff like that, like £25 an hour to learn witchcraft. I just think you don't see that enough in high streets these days.
I feel like it. Like in today's day and age, everybody can be who and even whatever they want.
Yeah.
It's like are like Satan worshippers still frowned upon? Like is it still like? But I feel like nowadays it's like everyone's the whole snowflake cancel this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like you cannot tell me who I should and should not.
I can worship whoever I want, and you
Yeah,
can't
exactly,
do anything about it.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to get. That's literally, you guys spun it to where I was going to go, because like I watched a lot of Zach Bacon shit and all that, you know, like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures. People are allowed their own opinion, but if a snowflake came up to me and said, "All right, what are you into?" It's like, Satan. They go, "Oh, you can't do that." It's like, don't you fucking tell me what I can and can't do.
Yeah.
Go eat a vegan sausage roll, you prick. You know what I mean? They would get
feel
slammed.
I didn't realise it was the vegans that were anti-Satan.
I know that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I just feel like the occult and Satan worshippers, devil worshippers, and all that, they're still keeping themselves to themselves. They're not on Facebook and moaning on like every single thing that posts COVID's fake because the devil said so.
All these Jesus worshippers, they get so much coverage. No one thinks about the Satan worshippers.
Exactly. So I just feel like maybe Satan worshippers, the occult, maybe a wee revival here.
Yeah. Get a fly in the wall documentary about them. That was it. Get Netflix to do a documentary on them.
Yeah.
So,
Where are the Satan worshippers these days? What are they up to?
Worshipping Satan.
because with point 7, we never know what Andy's going to hit out with. Typically, what it did come up watching the film made me think. Point 7 last season used to be Andy's hypotheticals, so I thought this film quite clearly, quite blatantly provides a hypothetical question that we have to face Andy with here, which is, Andy, you're getting married quite soon. Do you kill your new bride or your whole family, including yourself, given the choice?
Right.
Right. Okay. So she's done for, is she?
Yeah. Chris
Right.
would say the same thing.
I probably would, actually.
But he's got to work because he's got 3 kids. So you've just killed
Yeah.
3 kids and your wife.
That's I think yeah.
No.
Nah.
The kids would still survive. They wouldn't blow up.
Yeah. You'd have to kill the bride to save everybody else. Yeah. But then,
Right.
Yeah.
Alright, you're fine.
Yeah,
Kill
I
Nicholas.
feel like not even hesitation on that, on hypothetical. On to point 8 then, we better get on to it. The nominations for the Pointy Awards at the end of the season. I'll run through mine first. Nothing massively jumped out at me, but I've got a few written down. So the best song, Hide and Seek. I think that's already been mentioned. It was a bit of a banger. Some of the Love Me Tender cover at the end was quite good, but I think Hide and Seek probably picked.
Oh, yeah.
Samara Weaving, her Australian snuck in 2 or 3 times, but I thought she was pretty good throughout, and she got me behind her. Like I was like, yes, I want you to win, however you get through. And
I can think of her as just like Agent Smith from The Matrix. Every time. I'm just like, she's just got a look. Like,
just
every
name.
now and then does the look. It's like, yeah, you're definitely your dad's daughter.
So yeah, I think she does. I think she was really good in it. I say Andy McDowell has to be worst acting. I'm definitely nominate her for. She was dreadful.
I'll agree with
Best. I think Chris renamed our best costume to best fashion item because that's what I've written down here. The best fashion item, yellow Converses with a wedding dress is a pretty damn good look. Best death, the entire exploding family has to be best death, really. In terms of other nominations, worst father figure, is Mr. Domas a bad father figure? I feel like he is kind of keeping the family alive, and it wasn't his fault that they all got cursed in the
He
first
inherited
place.
the curse.
Yeah, so I don't know. I've got him as worst father figure, but in some ways he was pretty good.
He's the best dad, to be honest. He's keeping him alive.
There we go. Right, I'll eliminate him. He is no longer nominated.
Keep him as worst dad if you want.
Well, I just wanted to float the idea. And then the Superstar Template Podcast Awards. Best Inanimate Object, that little game box thing, has to be nominated, I think. Best Twist, I've got Alex's heel turn as best twist. I thought it was pretty good. And then Worst Plan, I think. At some point or another, Alex thought that both him and Grace were going to survive and live happily ever after. I'm not sure what his plan would be in the situation, because it's like they have to kill her or he explodes. So I'm not like, once the hide and seek comes out, he must have had some sort of plan, and I don't know what it was going to be. And then
that's another question. What if he got married in secret somewhere else? Is that at 12 o'clock that night or at dawn the next day? Would she just blow up? Because
it would be sunrise the next morning. His whole family just explodes in the house. What the?
Some bastard got fucking married.
Yeah. It must be hard to keep traps on this. I'm assuming that's why they were so scared about him being gone for 2 years. Was at any moment he could marry someone, and then any morning he could wake up dead.
That makes sense. I never thought of that, to be honest.
Yeah,
until now.
Right, Chris, nominations.
I agree with you with best actress. I've gone for best jump scare. When the first maid gets killed, I nearly pissed myself. I wasn't like, I watched the trailer and knew like what the film was about, but that fucking shot came out of nowhere.
That's why it comes out. It comes from out of sight, like you're not expecting it to come out that way. Yeah.
Also, I meant to do this like in the film Jaws ages ago, but I'm gonna add a jump scare for that. You know, when the head comes out of the boat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we definitely discussed it on the podcast.
I wasn't sure if it added to the nominations.
We had not invented the category, but it was
okay. We have now. I'm not adding that one now.
The pointies.
My best death was Andy McDowell getting her head caved in by Grace. I thought that was great. Like,
I mean, I did enjoy it because I don't have to hear her acting anymore.
But I agree with the best twist, Alex's heel turn. And I've gone for best plan is Fitch using the internet to learn how to use a crossbow. Like, you wouldn't kill anyone by accident, would you?
Yep, definitely going with that for the best plan.
Good answer. Andy, any others?
Right, biggest bell end award.
Oh,
that little kid just coming into the barn and shooting a hand off.
Yeah.
What the dick?
Reason given, everyone was doing it.
Yes. So he's definitely the biggest bell end. Worst plan's kind of connected to the barn. They've obviously killed a lot of people randomly, not for this game, and just dumped them in the barn hole.
You reckon?
So,
I don't know.
Yeah, because there was lots of dead bodies down there.
Disputed instantly.
But one of the dead bodies was her husband from way back when.
Yeah.
So that's like 30 years ago. He's been down there.
So it's not even like hidden, buried. It's just literally dumped down. So if the police ever come for a wee random investigation, fucked. Game over. So yeah, I'm adding that to the worst plan. Michael Pena award. He almost gets it for explaining the box, but he didn't go far enough. So
yeah.
I'll give him an explaining just so we get more shit in that category. And that's about it. There's nothing else. I'm out.
Yeah, a lot didn't fit. Like best stunt, I couldn't know the sets. It was a giant mansion. All the sets came out the same. It's like there was no cops in it. So yeah, I kind of struggled with some of the nominations. We'll crack on to point number 9. The moral of the story. What is the lesson of Ready or Not? Andy, we'll start with you.
Don't get married.
Literally the 3 words I've got written down. Yeah, don't get married. It's fine. Chris.
So I was going to that, but it seemed too obvious. So I went through. Always do a thorough background check on your partner, like just in case they're murderous nutters.
Yeah, there we go. Don't get married. Cool, that was easy. On to the rating then. Point 10. Our rating out of 10 for the film. Unless you, I'll make Andy go last. I had it as alphabetical order the other way, but we'll go with Chris first this time. We'll go reverse alphabetical.
I really enjoyed it. I like dark humor, and the gore and that was awesome. Like, apart from Andy McDowell, I wouldn't say there was like a bad performance from anybody. Like, I have 8 films, and if I watch them again, and I'll definitely watch this again. So I'm going to give it an 8.
8, my goodness.
Yeah, I thought it was a great. I thought it was a fucking great film.
Jesus.
Like, that's going to skew things. I liked it. I remember it. I will probably watch it again, but it's missing something. There's something just not. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. There's no X factor to it. It's very similar to Get Out. It's very similar to other kind of fancy.
See, I watched this before I watched Get Out. That's why I might have lowered it a bit if you'd seen that first.
So I had it as a 4, but I think it's a 5. I did watch it twice this week. No, I don't always watch every film twice. I watched this one twice. Second viewing, because I kind of knew a bit more about it, I was looking for it. So it got up to a 5, but I can't give it higher than that. Andy, I feel like you're not going to give this an 8 or a 5.
Put it this way, I'm not giving it anywhere close to what Chris is giving it.
I liked it.
I went into this film expecting something good. I was enjoying it, like I said, and then it just never went anywhere. I wanted more supernatural shit, more explanation. Everything else in this film I've seen better done. Even Babysitter, which Samara Weaving's in, and I'm pretty sure was like the year before, is better than this. But it's shit too.
Cool, that's a nice round number. That's an official 10-point podcast rating of a 5. Is what that gets. Despite you giving it a 2 and you give it an 8. Evens out to 5. Another one of our smack dab bang average in the middle films. A strange one. I feel like this is what we're going to get when it comes to the listener picks. Is something that all 3 of us are maybe going to have very different opinions on here with this, especially if not seen it.
Generally, if I'd seen this before, it would have been a 1, but I got a 2 because I was interested. It just never went anywhere.
Yeah. At the same, it's tough. At times, it feels like nothing's happening for a while. But at the same time, it's when they're explaining stuff, and it's just not quite where it could be. I wonder if they could make a sequel, what they would do with it. I'm not sure. It might
more hiding and seeking.
Yeah. No theme guess for that because it was a listener pick. Thank you again to Rachel.
Also,
I guess there's a theme because all 100 Shrimp the Kid and that there's dysfunctional families so far.
Very dysfunctional. Yeah, of course. That's both. Yeah.
This doesn't fit into my theme, just so you're not aware.
Okay.
I forgot about your theme.
It doesn't fit into. Yes, could do if I wanted to be really vague with it, but no, it doesn't really fit into me either.
Not even connected to my theme.
But that's we could maybe do that for the listener ones. Can we tie them all together one way or another? But yeah, dysfunctional families so far. On to the next one, which will definitely be part of the theme because he just loves talking about it. Chris, you're selecting for next week, following up on what did you pick first time round? I've forgotten.
District 9.
District 9. He's followed that up with his pick.
I was going to tweak my theme, but you said the one I was going to tweak it to in District 9, and I've already said no to it, so I can't do it.
And he's going to beat a fucking banger of an 8 here. Can he beat this?
I'm going to say no. All I'm going to say is it's time. I've threatened this film since before we started the podcast, and it's
Howard the Duck.
It is Howard the Duck.
This was the film that Chris wanted to do as part of the deal of agreeing to do the podcast. Was can we do Howard the Duck? Okay.
I threatened this before we started, and it's finally happening.
I see.
He definitely watched the What's If episode 2 and went, "Fuck, I'm doing Howard the Duck now."
Yeah.
That's how his little mind worked.
Yeah. Spread the word around. If you liked Howard the Duck and What If, then watch the film Howard the Duck. Find that if you can in the next 7 days and come back and join us again on YouTube, on your podcast apps, on the 10 Point Podcast.